I think it's fair to say that we are experiencing a change in luxury fashion in real time. Once upon a time, luxury only screamed for attention, bold logos, glossy campaigns, and front row fame. But today, something's changed. The new power in luxury seems to be silence and subtlety. In a world drowning in visibility, the most desirable brands are now the ones that aren't too loud. Enter The Row, the Olsen twins' quietly obsessive ode to craftsmanship, and Goyard, the century-old French house that doesn't advertise yet never stays on shelves. In today's video, we'll be deep diving into the evolution of luxury and taking a look into the rise of these quiet powerhouses. Hi babes, I'm Tasha, mother of twins, lover of luxe things, and your guide to showing up with style and intention. Let's get into it. The conversation around quiet luxury has been going on for a while now, and unless you've been living pretty much under a rock, then you would have heard about the rise of conservatism, the rise of quiet luxury, the saying that luxury doesn't shout, luxury whispers. And so I thought it would be interesting for us to have a look at what brands like The Row and Goyard seem to be doing differently to some of the larger, more mainstream luxury brands, and how they have been able to continue to capture their audience even though we are in the middle of a luxury slowdown, the worst that we've seen for some years. On the surface, The Row and Goyard are two very different brands. One is a minimalist fashion label and the other is a historic French trunk maker. But there are some core brand philosophies and strategic similarities, especially in the luxury space. The first being their quiet luxury philosophy. Both brands embody what most would describe as quiet luxury, which tends to be focused on understatement, discretion and craftsmanship rather than flashy logos or trends. The Row is known for its minimalist design, neutral tones and subtle tailoring, and Goyard, though it has a recognizable print, the chevron, it rarely advertises and avoids loud branding. Both of these brands also maintain a sense of exclusivity by limiting access. Goyard has no e-commerce, minimal press and almost no advertising. And The Row has low production runs, high price points and a selective distribution model. I find this very interesting because if you've watched any of my other videos about the luxury industry, you would see that I bleat on about luxury brands being very resistant to change and not really wanting to lean into e-commerce and not wanting to improve their accessibility and cater to the more aspirational customer. But you can see here with Goya that they've done the complete opposite. They've kind of gone back to scratch and decided that they will not have any online presence, which in 2025 is really, really interesting. It's almost as though they work to create a smaller, more intense community, a smaller community of if you know, you know, instead of trying to appeal to more of the masses, which I think larger luxury brands do. And more recently, we've seen brands like Chanel gifting influencers, but neither of these brands rely heavily on traditional marketing or influencer gifting. Their appeal is rooted in insider knowledge, people who know, and this creates a loyal base of affluent customers who value their discretion over display. You guys can let me know what you think down in the comments, but I do think that there is somewhat of a ceiling to this approach, and maybe these brands never want to become large, super mega luxury brands anyway, so maybe that's not necessarily a problem for them, that this kind of insider club approach to their brand has a max. Because at some point you're going to need to start bringing in people from outside the club if you want to continue to grow. But maybe it's more that they're okay with having a smaller, more dedicated group. And actually, I think this is the reason why loads of luxury brands are targeting influencers, is because they understand that these influencers, although many of them don't have as large an audience as a traditional brand, they do have a smaller, focused, more, some would describe, intense community base that actually in some ways is more beneficial. You're able to make more money out of that kind of focused community base depending on what you're selling. They also lean into avoiding obvious logos. The Row offers luxury with no visible branding, focusing instead on fabric, cut and quality. Goyard, I think, treads the logo line a bit more closely because they do in fact have a recognizable pattern. However, I think because this logo, for the time being anyway, isn't as distinguishable as a pattern like a Gucci or a Louis Vuitton, it still means that they're able to avoid what some might describe as the gaudiness of some of the mainstream brands. Both of these brands also aim to prioritize longevity in style and durability. The Row produces timeless silhouettes with couture-level craftsmanship, and Goyard's designs haven't changed much in over a century. I thought that it would be interesting for us to take a look at whether this more unique approach to luxury branding is having any effect on how popular they are. In Goyard's case, they outperformed even Hermes in resale value retention in 2024, achieving a remarkable 104% retention rate compared to Hermes's 100%. Some Goyard styles, like the plummet clutch wallet, enjoy a 139% resale value, illustrating its high demand in the secondary market. According to List, Goyard was named a breakout luxury brand in Q2 of 2024, with searches up by 95% that quarter, evidence of rapidly growing consumer interest. Also, although they have very limited social media presence, TikTok engagement around Goyard increased significantly, up by 90% in 2024, signaling rising appeal among younger audiences. However, Goyard doesn't seem to be immune to all of the more traditional luxury branding techniques, and in spring of this year they raised their US retail prices by 6.7% to 10.5% depending on the tote style. The St. Louis PM and GM went up by 10.5%, the Anjou Mini went up by 9.4%, and the Anjou PMMM went up by 6.7%. These increases usually reflect strong branding position and marketing demand, almost as though brands are aware that there is a demand and that the customers won't really be too put off by a price hike. However, in the long term, I definitely would encourage Goyard to take a look at its competitors and how continuous price hikings have ultimately alienated their audience. While Goyard is privately held with limited public financial disclosures, its parent's family dividends surged sixfold in 2023, attributed to the brand's strong performance and rationalized product chain. In general, it seems that Goyard has experienced growth and rising demand, particularly in the resale market. They have strong resale retention, and organic search growth suggest expanding popularity, and the price hikes in 2025 underscore confidence in consumer willingness to pay more. And although most direct sales numbers aren't public, indirect indicators like dividends and strong brand momentum all point towards upward sales trends. Similar to Goyard, the Row's annual revenue seems to be on an upward trend, and in 2024 was somewhere around $250 to $300 million. Notably, e-commerce sales reportedly surged by 175% in September 2024 compared to the same period in 2023, contributing between 50 to 75 million annually, roughly 30% of the brand's total sales. In early 2024, the Row entered the top 20 of the List index, with overall searches rising by 93% and interest in its Margot tote spiking nearly 98%. In September 2024, Chanel's Wertheimer family and L'Oreal's Bettencourt Meyers invested in the Row, valuing it at around $1 billion.
Valued at $1 billion. The owners of the Row are Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen. And I knew that the Row was doing well, but I didn't realize they were doing that well. The valuation of $1 billion, they're probably doing between $250 to $500 million in revenue. And the Row's been around since 2006. At this point, they are synonymous with quiet luxury. Their Margot bag has been the it bag for a while now. It states that the family office of Chanel and the billionaire heiress of L'Oreal both invested in the company. Additional investors include Natalie Massenet, who founded Net-a-Porter, and Lauren Santo Domingo. She's the co-founder of Moda Operandi.
This underscores confidence in the brand's strength and future potential. Vogue and Glossy ranked the Row among top performers in 2024's shift to quiet luxury, celebrating minimalist, timeless fashion and premium quality. Boutique owners also noted unusually strong demand for its refined basics. In the middle of this year, the Row's £600 Amma sliders sold out quickly despite public criticism as rage bait.
You have got to see the Row's new sandal. No, it's not the $600 flip-flop, it's something else. Let me introduce you to the Row's newest sandal, the Amma Slide. It's $620, it's all rubber, comes in a couple colors that we will be seeing on Kendall Jenner very soon,
indicating strong demand even for controversial high-price items. While officially disclosed sales figures are limited, all available indirect indicators point to strong e-commerce growth, a jump in search volume, high-profile investor interest, and positive marketing position in quiet luxury point to a meaningful growth and rising sales momentum in 2024 and into 2025. This means that the Row appears to be strengthening its luxury footprint. They're expanding their retail stores, growing e-commerce business, solidifying brand allure. It seems that the Row's commitment to a controlled, exclusive strategy with minimalist design and limited distribution resonates well with its core customers. So what do you think about brands like the Row and Goyard? Have you indulged? Have you picked up anything from either of them? And why do you think that they have been successful so far in continuing to engage their customer during a time where most luxury brands seem to be struggling?